the jungle. I got lots of plants. Just finished watering all my house plants, and it was needed. They were looking a little brown. I've been neglecting my house plants. I think it's fun that when you start to get a little depressy and you're letting stuff fall behind, your house plants also get depressed. Your house plants start to get brown, and they start to kind of they look like they're just like barely holding on. Your plants are getting bags under their eyes at the same rate that you are. And so, yeah, I gave them a quick water. I talked to them. That's important to do. You got to talk to your plants. That's what they say, is you've got to get down right beside them and be like, I love you, and you are so important to me, ficus. And if you were to wilt and die, I don't know what I would do with myself, because I need something alive in this house. I bet you morticians have a lot of plants in their home, because I think if you're dealing with dead bodies all day, you're like, I need something growing in here. You ever go to a mortician's house and they don't have any house plants? Run, because they love death. But yeah, I buy my house plants kind of same as anyone else. There's this old hippie dude down on 5th Street. His name's Dave. And he's, kind of got a long gray beard, long earlobes. So, he's wise in Eastern culture. And Dave, he just has, his whole house is just grow lights and plants. And it smells like skunk in there. I don't know why. But yeah, he's just full on planted up. So I go down there because I want, if you're going to be buying house plants, you want to be going ethically sourced. You want to be going something that's supporting local. You don't want to go and buy your house plants from Big House Plant. They're just funding lobbying groups in Congress and doing all kinds of nefarious stuff, like any sort of large industry. But houseplants is the worst for it. People talk a lot about Halliburton weapons, big pharma being in government. But the people who are really pushing for deforestation is the big houseplant industry, because they're like, we must destroy all the plants outside, so there's only plants inside. And they're winning right now, currently. Oil's trying to protect our forests. This sounds like I've been paid by Shell to take down big ficus. That's actually why George Washington was such a hero to the American people, is that he cut down cherry trees. He was actually the first American politician to be in the pocket of big house plant, was George Washington, because he went out there and cut down that cherry tree, and then he came back and he didn't even have the audacity to lie about it. Like, he just came back and was like, yes, I'm working forsooth for big house plant, and so I have cut down the cherry tree. No more trees outside, only trees will be inside. Now water my plants for me, slaves! And yeah, the Underground Railroad was mainly just about planting cherry trees all over outside in order to stop George Washington from destroying our forests for Canadian Tire's suppliers. But I go to Big Dave, Hippie Dave, to get myself some houseplants the other day, because, it's a nice kind of way to refresh your space. I try and get a house plant into the house once a month, try and get a new one, something that I can, just some fresh life, because these ones, I don't know why I'm buying more plants when I'm like clearly not 100% caring for the ones that I have in my space, but that's what I do. And I go over to Big Dave's, and I'm like, hey, I would like a houseplant, please. And Big Dave was like, Yes, and I bought one. And there was no obstacle, which that's how you write a good story, is by having just a goal and it immediately achieved. Take note, screenwriters out there, if your character is having too much of a tough time, he's having to struggle and overcome too many things and grow as a result, people are going to tune out. People don't like struggle. They don't like growth. People like everyone to stay exactly the same forever. They want everyone to kind of be like Doug or Hey Arnold. They want the same outfit. They want everyone to be Bart Simpson. They want you to wear the same clothes every day. They want you to look the same for 25 years, never graduate from the 4th grade. And just that's kind of what humanity's all about, is our stories that we have told over and over and over again for thousands of years across different cultures and generations and religions and creeds are all about growth and advancement and, finding the new through struggle. But that's not what we want to do. We want to stay the same and be comfortable forever. So if you want to write a movie that is really going to strike to the heart of the people, just write a story about a guy, an hour and a half, single shot, scrolling TikTok on his phone, and his boss calls him in a panic in the first 15 minutes. And he's like, oh my God, the building's on fire. I need you to come and help me. You're the only one who can save me. And he just goes, no, it's my day off, man. I don't want to come in and do anything. And that's how you make a movie. And that's the only kind of movie I want to see. I don't want to see a movie where someone has to get off their couch and go on an adventure. Why would I want to see that? I don't want to do that. I have to go on quests to get food and water and groceries and house plants all the time in my personal life. Why would I want to see a character do that? I want to see a character in a movie, an epic fantasy film, The Lord of the Rings. I want to see The Lord of the Rings where Frodo just stays in the Shire. Sauron comes and rolls through, and Frodo's just fine. Frodo's just like, hey, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Oh, now there's ring wraiths riding through the streets? Whatever. I've still got my 60-inch plasma TV. I've still got my hairy little feet warmers. He likes to knit foot warmers out of his own foot hair, which is pretty gross. But hobbits are gross. And I think that's maybe the number one thing that they missed in Lord of the Rings, was making those gross little hobbits look as gross as possible, because these hairy little pipe-smoking ne'er-do-well lounging about all day, farming tobacco and singing songs, doing dances, having dinner parties. These guys are dirty hippies. They are. That's what Dave is, actually. Old Dave, the hippie who sells houseplants. He is a hobbit. He's only 4 feet tall, hairy feet, and he sells houseplants. And down on 5th. And you know what? He's a good guy, and we love him for it. But oh my God, I've only been talking for 8.5 minutes. So it felt like 8.5 minutes of just like panicked word diarrhea, which my favorite kind. One of my plants just lost a leaf. I straight up have not watered my plants in like 3 weeks, and one of them just dropped a leaf in front of me. Like, hey, instead of doing panicked word diarrhea podcast for 8.5 minutes, how about get out the old watering can? I just did water them before this, and now they're still dying. I don't know what to do. Keep up with it, I guess. But yeah, what's in the news lately? I don't know. I don't read the news. Someone asked me today. I went for breakfast, and they were like, "So is it like topical, like news on the podcast?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what's going on in the world. It's news of my life, which I think is why it's reaching such a wide audience is there's a lot of people out there that just are like, Joel, what's going on with your houseplants right now? And the answer is they're dying. They're dying, and they're like the Amazon jungle. They're being cut down to create more room for beef. A lot of the Amazon is getting cut down so that they can have more cattle farms in Brazil. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, except it's just I keep letting my plants die so I can move in more deep freeze chest coolers to keep beef in. I'm spending all of my income on beef. I go down to the grocery store and full paycheck. I'll take the whole paycheck down there. I don't pay rent. I don't pay my phone bill. I don't pay anything. My bills are piling up. I'm going bankrupt because I'm just buying beef. And I'm buying the beef so I can just store it. It's kind of like, this is my way of playing the stock market. Is I think with inflation going up, services are becoming more expensive, goods are becoming more expensive. It is going to behoove us to have a stockpile of some sort of resource. And I'm just going to be the beef guy. I think we're heading for sort of a like pseudo neo medieval society where like there's going to be a guy who's going to be the blacksmith, and he's just going to, our cars are all going to become $10 million for a tank of gas because of inflation. So you're not going to be able to have a car. You're going to have a horse or two fellas inside of a horse costume. Either way, you're going to need horseshoes. Blacksmiths are going to come back in a big way. And you're going to have to go to your blacksmith, and it's just going to be, that's what gym bros are going to have to do, because that's swinging that hammer all day. That's heavy, hard work. So you're going to need guns. And a gym membership is going to be $35,000 a month in this new hyperinflated society. So people are going to have to find other ways to exercise. And I think what they'll do is they'll take up blacksmithing, and they'll just sell horseshoes to people who can't afford to drive cars anymore, because gasoline is going to become untenably expensive. And people are like, oh, what about electric cars? Yeah, you think, oh, never mind. Electricity will stay affordable. Gasoline's going to become $10 million a tank. But electricity, you're going to be able to charge it for a nickel. No, you're all going to be riding around on two fellas inside of a horse costume, because a horse is going to be way too expensive. The only thing that is not rising with the price of inflation is human beings. You're going to be able to buy human beings for a nickel. And I think I just discovered slavery. I think, that's Make sure you start getting assets now. Start buying beef and holding on to it, because otherwise you're going to have to sell your own children for meat. And that's going to be the only way you can survive. And like, kids are going to go for premium. You're going to what'll happen is people will start selling the elderly for meat first, because that's just kind of how the market works. Is you're going to sell off your old stock before you get to the new stock. But once you've sold off all your old stock, once you've got all your elderly people sold for meat in the hyperinflated marketplace, you're going to have to start selling your kids. And then you're going to discover that selling kids in the marketplace for meat is a heck of a business, because you can always make more of those. It's way harder to make more elderly people, because they take like 90 years to for your investment to kind of turn around. Kids, you can sell them quick, especially if you feed them, if you grass feed them, if you get them to graze, then you can do kind of two things. So if you're raising children for meat in the new hyperinflation marketplace, you grass feed them. So what you do is you start a lawn care business, and you have your kids go out and you go, I'll send you 16, 12-year-olds. They'll come and they'll eat your whole lawn down to a manageable height. And you give me 6 nickels for that. And then, you know what? 12 nickels, that'll buy you a a little Timmy steak for you. And people are going to do that. That's just going to be what our economy is going forward. And that's just the invisible hand of the marketplace at work, I think. Like, that's what we have. Our supply of people is very high. And the demand for meat is, it's going to become too expensive. Like, I don't know when the last time you went and bought a steak is. They're pricey and they're not getting cheaper. But every time I go to the grocery store, I look around and I'm like, oh, there is a lot of empty shelves and with no food on them. But there's an incredible amount of people. And all of these people are made of food. I'm just saying, I think that's the next step in human evolution, is we become a closed circuit. Humans eat humans, create humans that eat more humans. We become an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail into infinity. And then eventually what's going to happen is aliens are going to come down to Earth and they're going to see what we've been doing. And they're going to be horrified. And that's how we're going to protect ourselves from aliens, is by becoming the most cannibalistic, terrifying galactic society that has ever existed. And that's how we protect ourselves, is by raising children for meat.